tribal India is essentially part of your tribal society. If I say it is part of your Indian society, right? So within your Indian society, we are giving specific emphasis to this tribal portion, right? We are giving a specific, sort of an emphasis to tribal society particular, in particular. And I hope my handwriting is not too difficult for you. Okay, tribal society in particular. So you understand one of the reasons is understand them. That is the first one. Okay, second one, theories to understand them, to analytically study them. So, like what? We can talk about concepts like your nature man spirit complex. You can basically talk about ideas like your tribe caste continuum, right? You can talk about different sort of features of the tribals that has been talked about by D.N. Majumdar, your T.B. Nayak, and many other sort of scholars, right? Things of this nature. And then finally, also an applied component. And the applied component is a very important, okay? Applied component, okay? And the applied component is essentially welfare related benefits, welfare. So these are the major areas that we want to actually focus on in your tribal society, right? Either how do you understand the tribal society better? How do you apply theories or anthropological perspectives to analytically sort of study them, or analytically sort of understand, the sort of their entire, sort of lifestyle. Okay, and also we have a good chunk of a syllabus that deals with the applied component, as in like how do you sort of improve their socio-economic sort of status, right? So these are the major ones. So within this, what makes a certain answer stand out? See, I remember one thing that I would tell you is that in this entire portion, one of the things that you want to focus on is that you think about who is reading your paper. Who is reading your paper? Now, this matters to a great extent. Who is reading your paper? Okay, because this is essentially know your audience. Know your audience. Okay, you always play to the audience, right? So your audience is essentially your anthropologist. An anthropologist must have done a lot of, possibly anthropologists probably done a lot of field studies with the tribals. They are essentially the anthropologist who is going to be, reading your answer. So one of the more important things that you understand here is what is anthropologist, their views. Okay, what is their views? So try to understand their views and try to have your answer in and around their own sort of views as well. So I'm not saying that you don't need to be balanced. You have to be balanced, yet, 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 you write a balanced answer, yet pro-tribal in many ways. Pro-tribal in many ways. In many ways. And when I say pro-tribal, it does not necessarily mean it is not pro-development, but understand, because you're a spokesperson for it. You're a spokesperson for the tribal. You're a spokesperson. Okay, you're a spokesperson for tribals. Their point of view. And this is a very important sort of a point. Okay, try to understand, if you're a spokesperson for the tribals, okay, for the tribals, you have to basically communicate their point of view. So try to get into their shoes, right? So get into their shoes. So this would be one of the most important aspect that I would say, because as an anthropologist, they have very, very well sort of aware of the current situation of the tribals. Socially, what are the numbers like? Economically, how are they doing? In terms of culture contact, how much of culture has actually sort of deteriorated, or how much has gotten diluted, or how much of it is even sort of getting eroded over a period of time. All of those things are very, very aware. Who? The anthropologist. So the main focus that you would probably want to have is understand that the anthropologist point of view, okay, which is primarily the tribal's point of view, that has to be communicated from your end. So there is a small tweak when it comes to anthro answer versus GS answer. So anthro answer versus GS answer. Now that will be the major sort of a difference here. So I hope you are understanding this sort of an important point. So GS answer, always keep it balanced, right? So you want to ensure that the tribals develop. At the same time, you want to give certain amount of space to development or whichever sort of other issue or the environment. But whereas here you try to, so for instance, let's say there is Forest Rights Act that is being asked in a paper that is more of environment or it is in your polity, right? So you talk more in terms of the fact. So if it is environment, you want to talk more in terms of, like, let's say, of course, we want to protect the forest. Okay, so we have to understand the tribals and their rights to the forest. But here you have to understand that the tribals look at the forest as something that they want to conserve as well. So we possibly are going to say here that the tribals here spend a good amount of time, okay, in sort of conserving the forest. So giving it back to the local communities, as in your tribals and your, the other forest dwellers, would be a lot better way to achieve the eventual goal of protecting your forest. I hope that is clear, right? I hope that is sort of clear. GS, how would you do it? You would probably say importance given to the forest is so and so and so and so and so, right? Importance given to the tribals is so and so and so and so. Okay, and you would probably say that tribals and the forest, dono ke liye, we have to sort of try to find some sort of a balance. In anthropology, generally, what you want to say is that, see, protecting the tribals and giving them the rights that they deserve, okay, and implementing something like the Forest Rights Act in the very, very, implemented in spirit is probably going to help the case of the forest itself, right? It is going to help the case of the forest itself. So keep that in mind. Once you sort of can put yourself in the tribe's point of view, okay, or you walk in their shoes, right? Then you will have a much better perspective on what could be the right way to, to communicate your set of ideas, right? Many of the tribal papers, I will do an analysis of what are the kind of questions that are coming in. Where are most of the questions coming from your tribal or your in paper two in specific as well, right?